the class. The superposition means what? Adding of all the waves, right? That is my superposition. Suppose if this is my waves, y1, this is of y1, then this is of y2 in amplitude, this is of y3 amplitude. So all the total y is equals to what? Y1 plus y2 plus y3. So if this type of superposition occurs of all the crests or all the troughs, that is known as what? My constructive interference. And if the another is like this, then that is y4, then that is known as what? My destructive interference, that we have already studied about that. Okay. So if I am talking about the theory of interference, the second topic will be what? The theory of interference of the wave. If you want, you can write it down in your notebook also. These formulas. Theory of interference of the waves. We all know that all the waves are what? My sinusoidal waves, right? Rather than the cosine waves. So if A is the amplitude of the wave, that we have already studied, that y is equals to A sine omega t, and the another wave is making an angle some theta, that is equals to y is equals to A sine omega t plus theta, some different angle. Then after joining these two things, we get the amplitude, resultant amplitude. Resultant amplitude A will become what? Root over A square plus B square plus 2AB cos of phi. How it becomes C? Suppose if I have taken a vector quantity like this is my A and this is my B, okay? And if I have taken this A as a resultant, A, this one is a resultant A and this one is the A, small a. So resultant A is equals to, we have already studied in class 11 about how to find out the resultant wave. So this one will become what? A is equals to A square is equals to A square plus B square plus 2AB. And if this is what? My phi. So it will become what? 2AB cos phi. Is there any doubt? So in place of this, if I have taken as, we know that the intensity is directly proportional to square of my amplitude. So we can also write it what? Root over I1, because A amplitude is the square of amplitude is what? My intensity. So, I1 plus I2 plus 2 root over, because this is what? A. So if I will write it, A is inversely proportional to root over I. So root over I1, I2 cos of phi. Any doubt here?
No,
Himam, Dhanush, Vasu, no doubt?
No, no.
Fine. Write it down, all these things, because these formulas I have not given you earlier. So for the constructive interference, written? Written?
No, no, Miss
No?
Not.
Write it down fast.
Yeah.
So for the constructive interference, the cos theta value will be what? Positive 1. That is the maximum. Okay. So that will be written what? I max will be directly proportional to A plus B ka whole square. And for the destructive, this is for what? For constructive. When cos value is cos phi value is what? Plus 1. And for destructive, cos value will be what? Minus 1. That time it will be I max will be what? That will not maximum, that is a minimum. I minimum will be what? A minus B ka whole square. This is for my destructive.
Yes, madam.
These things are also written.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Everyone written, beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So, if I will say that for the constructive, I max is directly proportional to a plus b ka whole square, and I minimum is directly proportional to a minus b ka whole square. If I have divide I max to I minimum, then I will get it what? A plus b ka whole square divided by a minus b ka whole square, or you can also write it as a by b plus 1 ka whole square divided by a upon b minus 1 ka whole square. And this is a upon b is known as what? My ratio of amplitudes. This is what? Ratio of amplitudes, which is denoted by small r. So this can also be written as ratio of amplitude plus 1 divided by ratio of amplitude minus 1 ka whole square. I max to I minimum. And this is known as what? Comparison of intensities of maxima and minima. Written? Vasu? Abhirup, written beta?
Yes.
Just 1 second. Yeah.
Very good. Now the next pattern, next topic is interference and energy conservation. Today I will teach you all the formulas that we have, that is not written in the notes. I max is equals to what? A plus b ka whole square, because that is what? Directly proportional. I max is directly proportional to what? A plus b ka whole square, and I minimum is directly proportional to what? A minus b ka whole square. To remove this proportionality, we have applied a constant k. Clear? So I average will become what? I max plus I minimum divided by 2. So this is equals to k a plus b ka whole square plus k a minus b ka whole square divided by 2. And this will become what? This will become what? How much? Twice of k a square plus b square by 2. 2 get cancelled. This is equals to k a square plus b square. So intensity of light is simply being distributed, sorry. Okay, that is energy being transferred from regions of the destructive interference to the energy of the regions of the constructive interference. It is totally redistributed. And this principle of energy conservation is obeyed for the process of the interference of the light. This can be asked in for the proof. This principle, if you want, you can write it down. Principle of energy conservation is being obeyed in the process of interference of light. Interference.
Mama,
Uh,
what is that?
interference of light. Written?
Mama,
One minimum.
Pani, please.
Mama, funny wala we don't know. Funny wala.
Done, ma'am.
Done? Everyone done?
Yes, sir.
अभिरूप लिखा बेटा? Say it loudly, Abhinav. I can't able to hear you.
बस लिख रहा हूँ मैम, हो गया.
Okay.
हो गया.
हो गया? Okay.
Funny video जो funny बहुत हंसते. ये वाला क्या? ये वाला नहीं है. ये वाला नहीं है. नहीं जो कल देखी थी.
Now, next question, next topic. Suppose if you want, you can write it down the question. Next question that this is for the numerical part. Light wave from two coherent source of intensities in ratio 64:1 produces
मिल गया.
interferences. Calculate the ratio of maxima and minima of the interference pattern. Solve it fast. I'm giving you 5 minutes to solve this. Only 5. See, the intensity has been given as what? I1 divided by I2 is equals to 64/1. So this is become what? 8 square by 1 square. 8 square by 1 square. Okay. So I have to find out I max to I minimum will be equal to how much? So we know that I1 is directly proportional to amplitude of square. So I max will be also directly proportional to A plus B ka whole square. I2 is directly proportional to B square. So I minimum is directly proportional to A minus B ka whole square. So I1 upon I2 is equals to A square upon B square is equals to what? 64/61. So A upon B is equal to what? 8/1, dear. Correct, bacha? So A is equals to how much? 8 times of B. Because A upon B is equals to 8 upon 1. So 1 is multiplied by A and A is multiplied by 8. Any doubt here, beta?
No,
Vasu?
Mr. I
No,
understood.
I max upon I minimum is it directly equal to how much? A plus B. A value is what? My 8A. Sorry, 8B plus B divided by 8AB minus B ka whole square. So 8 plus 1, 9B divided by 8 minus 1, 7B ka whole square. This is equals to 81B square divided by 49B square. B square get cancelled. So 81 upon 49. That is the ratio. I max to I minimum. Understood?
हाँ मिस.
Write it fast. Or rather you can take the screenshot also. Now, next topic. Shall I change the slide, Vasu?
Yes, miss.
Fine. So the next is what we have already studied about my fringe width. Fringe width formula is what? Fringe width is equals to how much? D lambda by small d, that we have denoted by beta. Remember the consecutive bright, if I start taking with the dark, consecutive bright and the dark fringes. Dark, bright, remember? Then dark,
Yes, ma'am.
bright, up till here. This is what my fringe width. Remember? Yesterday we have studied this topic.
Miss. Yes, yes.
So this is what my fringe width, beta. क्या नाम है? Abhinav, did I have taught you about the fringe width? Abhinav,
हाँ मैम
did I taught you about the fringe width?
हाँ मैम पढ़ाया था
Right. Fine. So this is the beta. Consecutive dark and the bright fringe is the fringe width. Whose formula is what? Capital D lambda by small d. That we have already studied. Intensity of the dark fringe will be how much? Who will tell me?
Could you ask
Intensity.
again?
What?
Could you ask again, ma'am?
Intensity of the dark fringes will be how much? Intensity of the dark fringe will be how much? No one?
It'll be negative, right?
0. Because of that reason, it becomes what? Dark. If there will be intensity, I have taught you this thing that if the voltage increases, if voltage of any of the bulb or tube light increases or fan increases, the amplitude also increases. If amplitude increases, wavelength increases. If wavelength increases, its intensity automatically increases. So if we are talking about the dark fringe, it means there is no light. That is what? Black in color. That is like my shadow. Shadow intensity will be what? 0. Because of that result is totally bright, dark. Just like if I'm talking about the wavelength, when my amplitude is higher, that time we are seeing what? Bright fringe. But as my amplitude becomes 0, the intensity of that light will become was 0. No fringe. Dark. Understood?
And so, intensity of a bright fringe has a positive value, and intensity of dark fringe has 0.
Intensity of bright fringe. The next question was that, Mike. Intensity of a bright fringe. Bright fringe is what? 4i. Abhinav, you have done the calculation. You have proved it also. I have given you the numerical based on this topic. And you have proved that also. That is 4i. But you didn't
Yes,
know that it's about the bright fringe. Intensity of bright fringe is 4i. Why? Because I1 plus I2 plus twice of root over I1, I2 will become what? 4i. Because I1,
Right.
I2 is what? Equal. I1 equal to I2 equal to I. So I plus 2, I. It will become what? I squared. It will become what? I. So 2i, I become what? 4i. But in case of this, I1, I2 minus I1, I2. Here it will become what? Minus in the dark fringe. So 2, this is become 2i minus 2i. It will become 0. Because of that reason, dark fringe is what? 0. And bright fringe is what? 4i.
Okay.
Understood the derivation part also?
Yes, ma'am.
Written?
Writing.
Written, all of you? Shall I change the slide?
Yes.
Shall I change the slide?
1 minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Vasu, are you understanding or not, beta?
Miss. 1 second. This intensity of bright fringe is 4i, right?
Obviously, na, see na, I1 plus I2 plus it twice of root over I1, I2. Okay. So here it will become what? Cos theta is what? Positive. If we are talking about cos phi is what? Positive 1. So I1 is equals to I2 is equals to, I have taken it I. So I plus twice of root over I into I. So it will become 2I plus 2 root over I square. It will become what? Root over I square. So 2I plus 2I, this is equals to 4I. But in case of destructive interference, cos theta value will become what? -1, because it is going not in this way, it is coming from this side, negative side of the wave. Okay, so this will become what? Instead of positive, it will become what? Negative. So everywhere we will take it as a negative. So this will become what? 0. Understood, Vasu?
Yeah, Miss. Yeah.
Now, one more time. Shall I change the slide, Vasu?
Yes, sir.
Would keep it as a very important for your competitive exams and for your board level also. In my Young double slit experiment, okay, in a Young double slit experiment, if suppose I have immersed some, this is my liquid, I have immersed something apparel. Suppose if I'm talking about this glass slab, I have immersed this glass slab in this water which has a refractive index something mu. Mu I have taken the what? My refractive index of water. Okay. Suppose this is my glass slab. I have immersed this glass slab in the water whose refractive index is mu. So, if my apparatus or any object is immersed in a liquid, any liquid, I'm not talking about especially about water, any liquid, maybe it is a oil, maybe it is whatever, kerosene, whatever, liquid, which has a refractive index mu, okay, then wavelength of light and hence fringe width will also decreases mu times. This is very important thing that you have to remember it by heart. Written? Why this thing is happening? Because we know that whenever the light comes from rarer towards the denser medium, its wavelength decreases because some of the light goes inside the water and some of the light goes reflected also. Right? Because of that reason, on the surface of the water at the end of the sea or ocean, whatever, we are seeing the sparkling effect because of the reflection of the light. Shall I change the slide?
Yes,
Vasu, Abhirup,
Yes,
Shall I-
miss. Yes.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
fine. Now the relationship, next topic, relation between intensity, amplitude of the wave and the width of the slide. Not width of the slit. Take it as a width of the slit, not slide. We are talking about the slit now. So we know that intensity is equals to A square by B square. And if we have two different width of the slits, then it will become what? W1 by W2. Easy peasy. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, today's homework question. In Young's experiment, the width of the fringes obtained with light of wavelength 6,000 angstrom is 2 millimeter. What will be the fringe width? Take the screenshot because time is going to be over. If the entire apparatus is immersed in a liquid whose refractive index, this is refractive index, okay? 1.33. Take the screenshot fast. If you have any doubt in today's lecture, ask me tomorrow. Okay? Go and revise yourself.
Okay.
All the
ma'am.
content that I have taught you today.
thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bacha.
Thank you, ma'am.